evening, everybody. Welcome to the 60th and best episode of the Hashcast. And as always, I have a guest way cooler and way more interesting than myself. And tonight I have a guest who I recently met at E3, and I've been very impressed with what he's doing for himself. So I would like everyone to welcome Sai. How are you, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad we got to make this work. I know you're a busy man with a busy schedule, but I'm glad you got an hour for me to just have a quick chat. So, Sai, I've known you now for a couple of weeks, but for people who might not know exactly who you are, can you give us a quick introduction of what it is that you do and a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Sai. Like as you said, I go by Saibu Plays Games on the internet world, and I'm a streamer on Twitch. I've been streaming now for almost 5 years, and a partner streamer for 3 years. I just hit my 3 year, or actually my 3 year mark, August 31st. So I will be partner for 3 years, August 31st. But really, just trying to make sure everyone is coming in and having a good time and entertained and surrounding people with positivity and just showing people that there is positivity over the internet. So that's mainly what I do, is just trying to chase the light and show people that even though you're on the internet, you can still be surrounded with positivity. It's hard though.
Yeah, I can imagine, and it's kind of why I wanted to follow up with you because when we met, I was like, oh, good guy. We were playing Conan Chop Chop together, but then I looked a little bit into your work and what you do, and I was like, oh no, this guy is someone who takes the whole streaming thing to another level and is actually using his platform and his influence to make the world a better place, and it's kind of the kind of guest I want to have on my show. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions because I'm very curious to why you're doing all this and what drives you to do that kind of stuff. So what got you into like the whole streaming thing? Because was it just following like a plan that you had, or has it always been something for you that you want to get yourself in the spotlight and do good?
That's a great question. When I initially started, it was because I was on disability and just being in that dark space of not having anyone to talk to. I was on disability for a year. I started seeing a therapist maybe 4 or 5 months in, who suggested that I just do something to put my mind in a better place, whether it be go outside, taking pictures, going to the pool. The only thing about going outside is I'm in Arizona, so it's 120 degrees. So I'm like, I'm not going outside. But I started playing PS4. And one day I was just sitting on the couch playing Minecraft with my who was only 4 at the time. She thought I knew everything about it. I didn't know anything about it. So I just pressed the share button one day on my PS4 controller, like, let me just see where this takes me. And that first stream, people were coming in and giving me advice on the game. And at that time, I didn't think anything about it. But maybe 6 months down the road, someone asked me for mod in my chat. And that's when I started researching, like, where am I streaming? Because I thought I was a PlayStation Live streamer. I didn't know anything about Twitch at that point. And after just doing it, that's mainly how I got started. I was like, I got to keep doing this. I started just meeting people every day, and they came back, and then they're questioning, when are you going to be on next? It just gave me that drive to keep coming back on, and I'm still here.
Yeah, that's amazing because I also remember the early days of the PlayStation 4 with the share button when people started doing talk shows. I'm not sure if you remember that area of the PlayStation 4. And that's also when I started noticing like streaming was a whole thing. But so you press a button, you get a couple of viewers in a mod, and now you have like, I think I checked today, 56,000 followers on Twitch.
Yep, 56, getting really close to 57 soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just something that took a lot of hard work. But once I realized, hey, I'm on this platform and people are watching me, I have an impact on someone's life, and they want me to come back. It just kept me coming back and just thinking about it in a different light. Not just like, oh, I'm just going to get on and stream. I just started, thinking about it in a more professional light, doing things for my stream, creating emotes. Back in those days, there was no affiliate. So it was that you had to, that realization of, back in those days, there was no affiliate. So you had to realize the only way I'm going to get 500 viewers concurrently is by not focusing on how much people are watching, but rather focusing on what I can do to make sure people are having fun so that they come back. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big realization for me too.
Yeah, I can imagine, but it's not just like it sounds when you say it like this, it sounds like, oh, anybody can just do it. Just focus on the good
Hmm.
stuff. But it like I said, it takes effort. It takes talent.
Hmm.
Where are you drawing that personality from? Because like I see your work, but did you always have that entertainer in you, or is that something you've learned over the years?
That's funny you asked that. When I was younger, my mother homeschooled me and my six brothers, and we're all a year apart from each other. So all of us being homeschooled, she pretty much made sure we knew that we could do anything that we wanted to do. And this was before the YouTube days, before MySpace, before all of that, before social media. And I would sit down and create skits. And I would write out these in-depth scripts, and me and my brothers would perform these just weird, all-out zany scripts in front of my family. And I think that's just where I kind of started. But I just liked just making people laugh and making people smile. And as I got older, it's just like one of those. It's just something that just remained with me. Um, so yeah, I definitely would say the biggest impact on that would probably be my mom. Cause yeah, I've always been like that. She'll tell you like, yes, he's always been crazy. They always thought I was the crazy problem child of the family. Cause I used to do some weird stuff, man. I used to do some really weird just stuff, and you
Yeah.
homeschooling, you find
Does
yourself.
she understand now when you talk to her about your career in Twitch that you have so many people just watching you play?
Um, Yes, she does. She does. My mom is Korean. She's full Korean. So being from Korea, she knows she knew a little bit about like the internet and where it could take you. She obviously didn't know it would get this big and that people would be getting paid to actually entertain like this over video games. But she watches the stream, and I remember when I first told her what I was doing, she thought it was YouTube. So she knew there was some potential in it. But 3 years later, when I 2 years later when I approached her and I was like, I got partnered, she came into the stream. 2 years later, I got partnered on Twitch. She actually came into the stream, and that's when she realized after seeing everyone in the chat, welcoming her and just how much of an impact I had on their lives. She realized the opportunity that it was. But when I first started, it was hard to tell anybody in my family like, yeah, I'm a streamer, because back then it was like it was taboo. If you were a streamer, it was just like you were homeless living out your car or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and because I think the stories that are there, like we kind of drift towards the successful people, right? Because those are the
Hmm.
people that are in the spotlight. We know how well they do, but for every site that has like 56,000 followers, there is some dude who didn't make it, or some girl who just got bullied off the platform.
Hmm.
So we have the kind of bit of success bias. How do you deal with that level of success? Like it's having so many people following you and loving what you do that you can't train for that. You can't learn that, right? You have to just deal with it.
Yeah, you have to just. One of the biggest things really is just being open to change. And that is probably the biggest thing that is on my mind. Like the priority focus is just being open to change, because at any time things can change. And entertaining is very hard, and it's something that's not for everyone. Not everyone can do it at the end of the day, but for me, I just focus on being open to change and knowing that one day things could be going well. I might not be doing this, 2 years down the road. And I find myself setting a lot of short term goals and long term goals. I find myself setting a lot of short term and long term goals. And I guess that is just from knowing that streaming is a very fickle business. Um, One day you could be on top, and the next day you could be on the bottom. What's popular now is not popular next week, and It is very hard to do that. I know when I first started, I played GTA and Minecraft every day for a year straight. And so I still get people from my community that will tell me, I'm not coming to your stream because you're not playing these old games. And it's very stressful, but you definitely have to be open to change because yeah, it's a lot of up and down, and a lot of people look from the outside looking in. They'll look and say, "Oh, he is very successful," but everyone measures success in their own different way. And for me, successful is you're paying your bills, and I haven't reached that point yet where I can even generate enough money. I haven't. Yeah, I think successful to me is making enough to be able to pay your bills to do it for a living, and I haven't reached that point yet. Something I've still been working on for the past 4 years, and it's a lot that goes into it. But yeah, definitely just staying positive and being open to change because it's a roller coaster ride. It really is. Streaming is very crazy. It is very stressful.
Yeah, and when I hear you say like, okay, I've been working on doing this for a living for quite some time, I can also imagine that that brings some, like if you actually get to do this for a living, it adds another layer of stress, right? Because like you said, one day you're on top, the other way you're on the bottom. If that is your sole income, um, that must be like even more stressful because there's no safety net.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah,
how do you plan for something like that? Like, how do you plan for that level of success?
I really, you, man, that's a great question. Really, for me, I'm very grateful for this opportunity to just be able to stream, to even be on this show doing this right now, because I came from a weird situation where in order to go get a job, I got to get a form signed by my doctor, who sometimes tells me, I can't work that job. So it's a very weird situation, and not everybody's situation is the same. But for me, I really just there's no way to prepare for that. There's no way to prepare for one month you're at 1,000 subs, the next month you drop 800 subs. I save a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, that's good because I don't think everybody does that, and I think that's what it takes to
Yeah.
be one of the good smart streamers. Because I never heard stories yet about people like losing everything when they either fade out or they stop, they can't do it anymore. Um, but what I like about you, Sai, specifically, is like you do this, but you still like you do it for yourself because you have a lot of fun and it works for you,
Yeah.
but you also care deeply about what you bring to other people. So
Yeah.
even if you never make a living or it becomes too stressful to be like a professional streamer, you still have the community you care about. When did that land for you specifically that you felt that you had such an impact on other people?
Honestly, I felt like that the very first day I started streaming, and the first stream I got maybe like 23 viewers, but for me at that time I was very depressed, and when the first person came in, I still remember his name too. Sup what you ate. If you're out there, man, I love you. I hope you come back. But he was the very first person to ever talk in my stream 4 years, 3 months, and 1 day ago. And uh, he became one of my really good friends just from streaming. So from that very first stream, I realized, man, this is so cool. Like, not only am I playing this game and I can play with them offline and we can continue our session on Minecraft or on GTA, but I have a huge impact. And it wasn't maybe till like 3 months when I got to my first like 5,000 followers on Twitch when people started approaching me and telling me, hey, Sai, because of you, it's very weird, man. I've been watching you every day and I don't curse. It's like I don't curse. I just said a curse word today and it felt weird. And I'm just like, that's very funny because they come into my stream and I don't curse at all. And I tell people like, you don't have to, change yourself for me, but that's really cool that just from watching me, I had that impact on you to kind of like think about your life differently. And It's very weird, but definitely that first stream, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be crazy because I already impact people for them to come into the stream and be here for more than 2 hours. My first stream was like 12-hour stream. And then Sup With You was in the stream the whole day helping me out, man. I was like, this is crazy.
That is so funny. How do you do that? Because I know you're like a clean streamer,
Uh-huh.
and Twitch or the internet in general is not always the friendliest
It's the worst place.
environment.
It's the
Yeah.
worst place to try to be clean is on the internet. You're like, oh my gosh, this is a fail.
But how do you do it? Because do you moderate your chat, or is it just like leading by example? How you command your community?
Honestly, it's exactly what you just said, leading by example. It's like when you're face to face with someone, and they can kind of gauge from your conversation. I mean, I'm pretty like it happens to me all the time when I'm talking to someone face to face, and they curse, but they kind of like gauge what I'm saying, and they're like, "Oh, he's not cursing." So then they kind of phrase their sentences differently, and they're not cursing, or they say they don't drop the f bombs. And I keep it that way. I don't have like mods. Well, my mods are dope, but I tell them, if someone coming in and they let it slip, it's cool. It's the internet. Everybody's just talking like that, IRL, and
I
especially over
lost
the
a second
internet.
there. So.
Okay. When I get people that come in though, I don't set up any parameters for the auto mod that blocks f bombs or whatever. So that stuff just kind of slides through. But I do educate people when I do see it in the chat. Hey man, keep a clean stream. My daughter's here. She's watching the chat. Like keep it clean. Like I keep it family friendly. No cursing in the chat. And just from saying that, people understand. They
That's I think you've probably curated a good community by then, because that's a conversation I often have with content creators. Is like it's easy to not take responsibility for your community, and kind of get in as many people as you can, right?
mm-hmm.
Because there's probably people who are like, what is this kind of stuff? He doesn't even curse, and you don't tell me what to do, and they leave.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just picking and choosing? Like, okay, if that's not doesn't work for you, then you're not fit for this community.
No, because I'm accepting of everyone. But at the end of the day, I tell people like, hey, if you come into my stream and you click OK, got it to the rules that say no cursing, and you're still dropping f bombs or you're being disrespectful, I'm just not big into negativity. That's really all it is. Like I've seen people curse in my chat and they drop f bombs, but it's in a playful way. But then there are people that come in and are disrespectful with it, and that's what I don't put up with. So I tell people like this is Nerd Army. Like we're all one big community, but if you want to be a part of the community, be respectful to people, and a lot of respect goes with just. I mean, if you're respecting someone, you're not really just dropping f bombs and straight cursing them out. If you're respecting someone, you're not dropping f bombs. You're not cursing them out. And usually when I get trolled, it's someone going over the top to troll me, like the N word or spamming the Hitler. They create this Hitler thing and they spam it in the chat. Stuff like that. It's like that's usually how I'll get trolled, because most of the time they're watching the stream. They see me, they see the chat, and they see it's a positive environment. Like you could just read the chat and just see everybody in here is like chill. Like nobody said dropped an f bomb yet. And so usually when they do troll me, I get like the crazy trolls that instantly get banned.
Well, that's moderation, right? Because unfortunately, it's sometimes the internet like that. When you have a good thing going like that, it actually draws in those kind of people because they want to get a rise out of you.
Yeah.
Does your community like moderate itself at this point when you don't even have to pay attention because your chat has it covered?
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I read all my comments, so I'll read it. I'll like leave out the curse words, but like if I see like they're trying to talk about the color of my skin, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's not 1920. I'll just play around with it and just kind of kill them with kindness. And that is funny because yeah, that is exactly what my chat does. They kill people with kindness, and it's just from months, years of hours of watching me. It's like they're my best friends. They're over the internet. And when they see that stuff, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this dude trying to troll." They'll put kappas in the chat like, "Oh my," it's really funny. But they actually have my back.
That is good though. Like you gotta have to be able to count a community at the point where you're at. Um,
Yeah, I feel like
but
one of the
yeah,
biggest things is like people have to realize that, especially if you're starting off streaming, you want your community to be a reflection of yourself. You know, like would you be a part of a community that that went around and captured birds? Like if you don't like taking pictures of birds or like trapping birds, you wouldn't want to be a part of that community. And just a weird analogy, but that's kind of like how streaming is. Like if you don't want to be a part of the community, you don't have to. But if you do want to start streaming, you have to realize like you want your community to be a reflection of yourself. Yeah, you can blow up from just letting people come into your stream. Obviously, I would get way more viewers if I allowed all that, but I don't. And because of it, I don't, I'm not successful as most people would, see success on Twitch. But for me, I am, because I have, for me, I'm not like for people on the outside looking in, they come in, they're like, this guy, he doesn't have a lot of views, and yeah, that's not really what makes me successful. What makes me successful is because my community is a real community of people that they meet up. We're all in different states. Some of them are in the same state. They'll hit each other up and be like, "Are you coming to this convention?" And when we go to conventions, we come like 20 deep, and it's just really fun. But it takes a lot of work. But yeah, definitely
yeah.
making it.
I saw you, of course, at the E3
Oh yeah.
this year. Um, is it your first time you were there, or?
That was my first E3. It blew my mind.
Yeah, because I always love first E3 stories, but I want to go a little before that maybe, because you just mentioned like, okay, you measure your success by how great your community is, but when was the first time you actually felt like, oh man, like I'm in it now? I've hit the level of not fame, but you know what I mean, that I actually get invited to this kind of stuff. Do you remember that moment where it really sunk in for you, like that you're doing something special?
Yeah, that the first time that happened was when I got my PC. I was a PS4 couch streamer, streaming straight from PlayStation 4, maybe for 2 years, and or a year. I got partnered after my first year, and when I got partnered, I was still couch streaming. Some people from my community, they got together, and another streamer who was partnered at the time, his name is Banlish, he got together with his community, and they started a pot to build a PC for a friend. And I guess I was the friend. And so they built me this just epic, like $6,000 PC monitors, and they donated it to me, and it came in a box on Christmas Day. And I opened it up on stream. And as I was breaking down crying, this video's on YouTube, as I was breaking down straight crying, that's when I realized, like, I'm in it. This is crazy. Like, it's all, working itself out, and it's all coming together. And that was that realization moment right there for me. Then I got partnered like not even a week, 2 weeks after. Another breakdown moment.
Yeah, that is all. Like that is first of all a amazing story that you have a community that is so supportive of you, and then like you said, then it just starts off because I saw an old post of you like I think last year that you were getting flown into a conference. I'm not sure if it was Comic Con or someone flew you in there for some. For some event. How does that kind of stuff feel? Do you get used to that already?
I never get used to that. I'm like, what? You're gonna pay for me to come out to this? That was Amazon Game Studios. They when I first got my PC, they used to watch a lot of my Ark streams, and they just love the Ark environment. And they're developing a survival game right now. And they brought me out to play it. And I've been playing it for the past, 2 years. They just bring me out, put me in a hotel, bring me to the conventions. And for me, I'm just like, wow, this is a huge opportunity because I don't have the money to go. Where is this money coming from? From like me, out of my pocket to go to these conventions. And yeah, just to have those opportunities to go, that's life changing. I wouldn't. that's life changing to have those opportunities to just go. I don't think I'll ever get to a point where I'm like, I'm past this now. I'm past getting my trip paid for to come out. It gets, that's just weird to me. But I feel like I'll always be like that.
Well, it is pretty impressive. But I want to talk about your first E3 experience because that's where we met. Did you apply? You got approved, and you just went, or did you get? Was it a sponsorship deal as well to go to LA?
It was actually a sponsorship deal to come out to LA, and Chase from Stream Elements, he flew me out. Or not? Yeah, actually, I drove out. I drove out there, but he got my ticket paid for. And it was just like an amazing experience. It was awesome. It was so much going on. I didn't even get to go and experience it all. Which is why I got to go next year. But yeah, shout outs to them for giving me that opportunity to go. And he told me too, he's like, hey, when you're going out there, as fun as it is, you want to grow your community and you want to get to that point that you want to be at. So you need to focus on the right things. And that's why I was upstairs all day in different meetings, because he was setting meetings for me to check out all these games. And that's how I met you.
Yeah, well, that worked out.
Yeah.
And I think I caught you downstairs in the hall hanging out with Malik.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I've been trying to get him on the show, but he's always busy.
Yeah,
who are the people that you've looked up to or who have mentored you? Because we all have that person usually that either drives us creatively, or who are some of these people in your career?
I would say the biggest by far would be a streamer who is partnered. His name is Legendary Qster. He was a partner streamer, and I would watch him all the time. And Echo Limits, who Echo Limits is a top 5 Battlefield 4 streamer, and Qster was a Call of Duty streamer. And they would watch my streams. And one day, I was streaming Battlefield. I was one of those streamers that would, I used to think, I'm good at the game, so people will watch me because I'm good at the game. So I would never read my comments, actually. It was crazy. Like, you would come in, and I really wouldn't be reading my comments. And one day after the stream, he came into my stream one day while I was playing Minecraft, and I was like, oh my goodness, Qster is here. He's in the stream. He's watching me. This is crazy. He's like, hey man, I would love to talk to you after your stream. And he sat down and talked to me for like an hour. And he told me I was boring. He's like, man, you're cool. He told me like straight up that I was just a boring streamer. And I was just like, what? And he was like, yeah, man, if you really want to grow, you really have to focus on showing your personality. And that's what just got me just like, okay, well, my personality is I can read every comment. And I stopped playing Battlefield. And that's when I started playing more Minecraft and Don't Starve and got into survival games. And it just allowed me to show my personality. So I definitely say he was the one that set me down and really told me, like, he gave me the hard facts. Like, Sai, you have good content sometimes. But most of the times you're boring, man, because you're not reading, you're not talking. And I was just, he was like, do you watch your own VODs? And I was like, no, I don't. He's like, go back and watch your own VOD, man. I went back and watched one of my streams, and it was cringing. I was cringing the whole time, like, And he was like, yeah, when you have those moments, that means that there are opportunities to grow, And I knew that, and I was just like, you're right. So the very next day, I just started, just reading more comments, really engaging people that came into the chat, genuinely building connections. And it was all because of him. It was all because of him.
That is awesome. Like sometimes it only takes that one person, right? To change your life, I guess, because a lot has happened probably since then.
Yeah.
I always love hearing those stories because it's one door that someone opens for you, and then just everything changes. Then you're getting flown out. You're going to E3, meeting all these people. Have you met him in person?
Yeah, my first TwitchCon 3 years ago, he flew out to Arizona, and we just road tripped from Arizona to TwitchCon, and when it was in Long Beach, and we got a hotel together, and it was cool. He's like one of my really, really good friends, just from streaming. And it's funny because at that time, he's one of my really, really good friends, and it's all just from streaming. And at that time, I would send emails to partnered streamers because I would never go into your chat and be like, "Hey, after your stream, can you hit me up?" You know, I thought it was I never was self promoted in anyone's stream. I always hated the idea of it, but I would do it like better. I would do it in a better way by just emailing them. You know, just thinking if they really check their emails and if they want to get back to me, then they will. And that's how he came into my stream, and I was just like, "What? This is crazy." But not being partnered and to have that partnered streamer giving his advice, I straight took heed. I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I'm taking notes. Hey, this is facts because he knows what he's doing."
Yeah. Have you had the opportunity to pay that forward?
Yes, and I do talk a lot about streaming. It's probably like something I shouldn't do because it definitely turns into a follow me. But if people do take the time to reach out to me the right way, you know, whether it be sending me a DM on Discord or on Twitter, as long as it's not in my chat, I will sit down and talk to you about streaming, and I will give you some like what works for me. But I do tell people like just because it works for me doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. Not everyone can do the same thing the same way and expect to get the same the same results.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely do pay it for it every chance I get. I don't really do a lot of raids just because I don't really do a lot of raids, but I definitely do try to pay it forward every chance I get. If someone reaches out, I'll sit down, I'll talk to you. You can call me, you can video call me. I'll answer if I'm not busy. We can chat. You can ask me any questions. And people actually do hit me up a lot. I'm like, I should probably be like a stream consultant because this is kind of crazy.
Well, that's a backup plan, right? If
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
backup for real.
yeah, and get that extra money rolling in. Like you seem someone who's like actively working on growing his channel, getting better, making the community better. You take this very professionally. So most of those people have like a plan, 5 year plan, whatever. Where do you see this going in the next 5 years or 10 years or as long as you have?
I don't have big dreams, you know, regarding streaming. I feel like if I stopped streaming today, I would be content with where I've gotten and the community that we built. And I don't like for 5 years from now, I've always wanted to transition from streaming into a job in the gaming industry. Um, I want to be the guy like you, like how I met you, man. And you were just like outside the door, and we went in and played Conan. Like that was just a really cool experience for me, and that's what I've always wanted to do is like be that community manager or just be the ambassador for a company going out and reaching out to streamers and that's always where I've seen myself. I understand that streaming doesn't work out for everybody, but I do understand that if you work hard at it, you can transition and open a lot of different doors from it. So 5 years from now, I want to work for Twitch. Like I would love to get a job at Twitch, uh, partnerships, uh, educating people on what it takes to get partnered, working for a company as a brand ambassador. Um, that's definitely like the end goal, and that's where that's what I've been trying to do like these past 4 years. Is every chance I get, I'm just trying to, you know, send out an application. And when I go to conventions, I don't go for business. I really just go to personally build relationships with people, and that's how a lot of the opportunities have kind of landed in my lap, just from meeting people face to face, and they're like, "Hey, you're cool," and I'm like, "You're cool too, man." And then we just, you know, get to talking when we get back home, and it's
Yeah.
really crazy, but.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, and I think you will be fantastic at it to be like an influencer manager or a PR rep or at Twitch. So if I ever see an opportunity, I'll definitely try to hook you up. But
Oh.
you're right that if people go to this convention, it's not just to hand out business cards and like be a business card, right? It's building those personal relations, and like we don't know each other super well, but that's kind of how it went for me because I started as a writer in the gaming industry, and then I started doing my own stuff, freelancing, and then when my job opened at Evolve, when they posted a job, like I think 7 or 10 people DM me at the same time with the link to that job posting, and that was all just because those people had become my friends and they had my back and they were looking after me. So at some point, someone's gonna link you to a job posting, and your old DM is gonna flood in with saying, "Sai, you gotta apply for this." And that's how you're gonna get your gig. Like no doubt in my mind that the next time we talk in this next 5 years, you're gonna be in that position because good things happen to good people, and you're gonna kill it in that role on the other side, no doubt about it.
Thank you for that. And that's really weird because I do like sometimes get DM'd and it's just like mind blowing to me. Like, oh, you just hit me up to fill out. It's crazy. Like I'm like, you thought of me.
And that's how it starts, man. That's how it starts. And sometimes it really takes just being in the right place, right time.
Yeah.
But the more I get to know you, like that attitude you have, that professionalism, that's just waiting to happen. You just have to like not hold back. Like you know how to say like have the confidence of a white guy going into a job interview.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That works. That would be so awesome. Yeah, if I'll see if I can hook you up. I have contacts. I'll keep that in mind, knowing what you want to do. But until then, like, do you have anything big planned? Anything coming up?
The biggest thing I have is just something with Borderlands for when Borderlands 3 comes out. That's probably the biggest thing that I'm like really hyped for. And then TwitchCon. TwitchCon's coming up, and I'm so excited. I go every year because it's so much fun to meet up with all my friends, and we all just go out, and it's a really fun experience. So I think that's probably the biggest the two biggest things: Borderlands and then TwitchCon, and then maybe PAX if I can get to PAX. Hopefully, but I don't know how that's gonna work out. But if I can get to PAX, that definitely would be something too. I love conventions. I love going, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, conventions are the best. Like I didn't go to as much as I would like to go, but every time I'm gone with the family and stuff like that. So it's long weeks. But yeah, no, that will be. I'm curious to see what you're gonna do with Borderlands, but I'll keep those secrets to yourself for now.
Yeah, please. I gotta keep it secret.
Yeah, let's not break any NDAs on the show here tonight. But like we kind of talked about, like you knew when it hit and how it blows your mind that some people are like you get thrown out. Do you still have those moments where you can't even believe that what's happening to you? Like when you meet people you've always looked up to, or you're working together on some big stuff now. I always love those stories.
Yeah, I just at E3 when I was at E3, I had a chance to meet the game and chill with him, Sugar Shane Mosley, Julius Randle, and it was just like what? And I got invited from someone that I met, and it was just like it's crazy because like. I don't want to fanboy them, but then I do. But they're like, oh man, I know how it is, so I'm not gonna try. I'm trying my hardest not to fanboy you, but I really want to take a selfie with you. Yeah, that I definitely look up to a lot of people that currently stream, and when I meet them in person, it's very crazy. I've been knowing Andy Milanakis for a couple years now. And I know the first time I met him, it was just like, what? Like, this is a celebrity. And, just trying to keep it cool with him. And a lot of other people, too, I've met. And it's just like, oh, my gosh. Like, I know it's funny because I don't know a lot about social media. Like, I just recently created my Twitter like a year ago. So I'm just new to all this stuff. And, it's funny because, like, people will know these people. But then I'll just be sitting here like, I don't know who it is. I'm just talking to them normally. And we just kind of like relate that way and build a relationship. But I still have those moments where I'm like, yo, that's, but I can't, if I fanboy him, he's going to be mad.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I had to always try to play it cool, but this year at E3, I finally got to meet Ashley Birch. And I was like, oh, yeah, I like your work. And I was like, I love but yeah, we try to play it cool, but it doesn't always work.
Oh, man.
So what I wanted to ask you, like we've talked about your career and everything, but I find you such an interesting person as a person yourself. Um, you kind of briefly mentioned your struggles, and I find you're very open with that. How hard is that to be when you're in the public space like this? To be this transparent about the things you struggle with, because it's easy to talk about your success, but
Hmm.
even in the beginning of the show, you just like put it out there saying like, no, I had trouble, and this is how it started.
Hmm.
Is it hard for you, or is it come easy?
Uh, I really don't like talking about it only because people. I don't want people to look at me and feel sorry for me, and that's the reason why. So I've always focused on not telling people, but I've always hated those moments where people don't understand that everyone's situation is different. Like I was just on Twitter the other day, and someone was like, "If you ever see someone posting a goal for their rent, would you watch the stream?" And everybody in the comments was like, "I would leave this stream because they probably need to go get a job." And it's like, people don't understand like not everyone's situation is different. And sometimes I touch and I try to tell people, but when I do and I'm like, hey, I do have a, people are like, well, you're disabled. I'm like, yeah. They're like, what's wrong with I'm like, when I usually tell people, they're blown away like, huh, you're disabled. I'm like, yeah. What's wrong with you, man? I'm like, I actually have a heart condition. And that's when they're like, I didn't even know. I couldn't even tell. And I'm like, that's exactly how I want it to be. But yes, it's very hard to be honest with people because for some reason I feel like most people on the internet don't want honesty. Like they would
Yeah.
be okay if I don't know, it's very weird. If I already know for a fact if I didn't tell people stuff, the things that I do tell them, I would probably get more donations, more people. But I don't really care about that. Um, but it's very weird because I do think about that a lot. Like maybe I'm just too honest with people. Maybe I'm too transparent. Cause yeah, some people like take it in a negative way, and some people hate on you for the fact that they're like, oh, this guy, he's just sitting up here, he's just trying to get donations. Like if I was trying to get donations, there's some different. There are different things I could do to try to get donations. I can say do a, oh man, like an event, like and I don't even do those, but it is very weird, man. I question that all the time. Like, man, maybe I should stop being so honest with people.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think you being so genuine is probably where that community comes from, right? Because people have to appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, but at the same time, like that person that comes in, there's a lot of like, especially on Twitch, and I'm pretty sure just the internet. People are very negative. Like people don't believe. I had someone like straight ask me the couple months ago, "You're disabled?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm disabled, man." He's like, "Prove to me you're disabled, and I'll donate some money." And I was like, "No." He's like, "You're disabled?" "Yeah, I'm disabled." "Prove to me that you're disabled right now, and I'll donate you some money." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, Show me something." And I'm like, bruh, like I'm not even going to show you anything. But when he left the stream, I straight pulled out everything. Like, yo, look at this is for everybody that thinks, and I showed everybody my medical badge, my disability, paperwork stuff. And I was just like, it's weird how people really want to see this to believe stuff, to
Yeah,
believe you. But it makes
yeah.
sense.
That's the internet. I mean, like
Yeah.
you get haters for being genuine and honest and
Yeah.
vulnerable sometimes, but that's what they latch onto. But if they didn't have that, they would be like, "Ah, your hat, like who watches Dragon Ball anymore?" That's just people how they are.
Yeah, that is just people, man. I know that for a fact. Like, yeah, it's just people showing their true colors. People are like, it's just the internet. People are gonna act like that because it's the internet. I'm like, no. At the end of the day, people are showing their true colors, and this wouldn't be someone that I would want to be friends with face to face. And yeah, but being honest, man. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, maybe I should stop. You know, telling people. But then I always get to that point where somebody always just like rubs me the wrong way, and they talk about somebody else, and they don't understand that everyone's situation is different. And I'm just like, man, it just irks me. And I'm just like, man, you guys, like, Not everybody's like can work a full-time job and stream, you know? It's kind of like how people are like, you don't do giveaways. I've gone to people's streams and like, you don't do this person doesn't do giveaways, monthly giveaways. And I'm like, what if that person, this is his only, like their only source of income? Like, what if they're not making money from this and they can't go find a job? What if they're looking every day for a job? Like you don't know. And it happens a lot on the internet. People just jump to their own conclusions. They assume.
That's pretty much the internet in a nutshell right there.
Yeah.
But you don't want to, like, I understand how that can be strong and how it can be hard for you, but I think that you being open about it and honest about that, you might not even see the impact that has on people, seeing that you have the courage to be open about it. That might help them in a way be open about their own thing and get what they need. So I love it when I see people just do that, be that kind of honest. Because you never know the impact that you have on just that one viewer that doesn't even chat, right? And he's like, oh, there he is.
You're right. You're right.
So I would say never change, but I'm not you, and you can do whatever you want if it works for you.
I'm not gonna change, man. I'm not gonna change. I'm gonna just keep being me. I'm just keep being me.
That's right. I saw a quote about from you when I was looking up, because I do some research in all my guests, and it was about like being genuine, and then people will stick around because of your positivity. And I think that's that's why I want to talk to you, because I made 100 appointments that week at E3, but I was like, this guy's special. There's something about the guy I need to know more, so I want to talk to him on the show. And I'm glad you did. Here we are.
Yeah, me too, man. It was Conan. I think it was Conan that brought us together, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Good old Conan. That's what he's known for, bringing people together with his big ass sword. So we talked a little bit about how you got here and planning what you're gonna do, and I think you have a huge career in front of you. I always have a question for all of my guests, and it is can be personal, can be career wise, and it is, what do you think you have put into the world that made the place a little better? Like, what have you done to make that you're going to leave the world better than you found it? And it can be anything. It doesn't even have to be game or career created. It's just in general.
That's a great question. Doing this, like, where your whole like livelihood depends on social media and how you affect people, I would say that probably is the biggest thing for me. And the thing that I'm most proud of is just the fact that I go into my stream now and I see 56,000 followers, and I'm just like, wow, this many people actually follow the stream and want to be a part of this community. And just knowing that, I've focused since the start on surrounding yourself with positivity, excising any negativity, and just pushing to achieve your goals and your dreams. Like, I feel like just having that, just to see 56,000 people and to know that was my message, I feel like that right there is the biggest thing for me. It's very crazy. It's surreal. I wake up sometimes and I'm like, I'm a streamer? Like, this is very weird how I just get on every day and people come in and look forward to seeing the stream. And I get a lot of people that come in and they tell me, Sai, I had to stop talking to this person because they were just too negative. I had to stop talking to this person because they would always talk down on me about where I worked. And just like that is like, that's a positive change, man. And just to know that I affect people in a positive light, that's huge, man. That's just amazing to me. And just like you said earlier, you never know who's watching. That's so true, because I've gotten long DMs from people who are on disability, who are going through the same thing that I'm going through, and who feel scared to open up and come out of lurk mode and chat. and they're just building up that courage. And then one day they come out of lurk mode and they check their rank or something. And this is my first time seeing their username. And I'm like, you have 8 hours of watching my stream? Like, this is amazing. But you really have been watching? And it's huge, man. It's amazing.
That's awesome. I love that. I love what you've done with your community and what you're doing. I'm not sure what's going to happen first. You're going to hit that 100K, or you're going to be working in this industry. Who knows? But whatever you're going to do, I think you're going to leave an impact and a positive one at that. So I'm very glad that we got that small cross at E3 to run into each other, and that I got to have this conversation with you. I'm gonna let you chill, because my ending segment on podcast is podcast and chill, where I gotta want you to promote yourself and plug anything you want. Like, doesn't even have to be your own show. Maybe you got something, just a good message for the world. So, but first, where can we find you if we want to know more about Sai?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch, mainly Twitch. I stream every day, but Sundays and Wednesdays. Sometimes I get on Sundays and Wednesdays, but it's all under Cybe Plays Games. And not that I'm even worried about people following me. I really just want to leave people with this. You really just have to focus on. I just really want to leave people with just with this. Like, you really have to focus on waking up every day and speaking life, speak things into existence. Not being so negative, being open to change and just being positive and wanting to change yourself for the better. I hear a lot, like, some people think of change and they're like, oh, this person's being fake. But no, that's thinking about it negatively. You can think about it in a positive light and think about it like along the lines of you're changing for the better. You're changing for yourself to be in a better situation 2 years from now. I know everyone's situation is different, but I feel like everyone, if you focused on chasing the light and staying positive, remaining positive, and killing people with kindness, it goes a long way. And eventually, I hate it. Like, I know some people say, what is that saying? Fake it till you make it. They say that because, like, seriously, if you really fake, like, honestly, I've never faked anything, but I feel like if you did sit down and fake something for like a year straight, it becomes a part of you. It becomes who you are, So at the end of the day, you gotta just really just, like, if you're negative, I suffer from depression and used to see a therapist once a week, and I know firsthand how it feels to wake up, crying out of your sleep, wake up just feeling like I have to live life today. Like, I definitely understand how that is. But you just got to focus on positivity. And if you have any negativity in your life, you got to cut it out. You really do. What did Joey say on Full House? Cut it out.
I did not expect to end this episode on a Full House quote, but I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a kid, man. She watches Full House, man.
Yeah, I know. The new, my kid watches the new one every now and then. She doesn't even understand English, but oh well. So I thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciated our talk, and I appreciate getting to know you a little better. And I can't wait to run into you again. I'm sure we'll cross paths again. So everybody, if you listen to the show, go check out Sai's channels, and it's definitely someone you need in your life, in your rotation of Twitch streams, and maybe some positivity on your timeline as well. And I am the Hashtagonist, and this was another episode of the Hashcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I can't close the show, but I'm doing it anyway. So, Sai, thanks again, and hopefully we'll see each other soon.
Thank you, man.